Welcome to the Trust Factor Radio, bringing you interviews and insights to unlock the power of the subconscious mind to create authority, credibility, and trust. With your host, the Authority Architect, and best-selling author, Neil Howe.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is your host, Neil Howe, and today my special guest is Ted Bigham. He is the owner of Kow Abundant in Columbus, Ohio, and he helps local business owners get connected with their customers online, focusing on SEO, Google Ads, and social media management. Kow Abundant helps even the playing field for local small businesses to get in front of those local people searching online. Welcome to the show, Ted Bigham.
Hello. How are you, Neil?
I am doing great. Thanks very much. So let's just get right into it here. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your business and what kind of customers you serve.
Yeah, so this is my fifth business, Kow Abundant, and it's a digital marketing company based in Columbus, Ohio. We serve small businesses, local businesses primarily in the area or some connection to Columbus or Ohio. We have different businesses. Some are national, some are in Nantucket or the coast. It just varies, but they have a base here. So we like to have some connection with Ohio, and it also makes it nice to meet the clients in person. That's always good, and it's about building relationships. So yeah.
Yeah, those face-to-face meetings do a lot for you and for your business and put people at ease, being able to talk to somebody. And I know we might get into the misconceptions later, but I know people like to be able to look their marketing company in the eye and really understand what they're doing for them. So talk to me about some of the problems. And now you primarily deal with these small local businesses, which are the backbone of the countries. But what kind of problems are they having with their marketing right now?
Yeah, so I mean, local business is a huge sector, obviously, of the market because, it's said 2 out of every 3 jobs in the United States is made from local business, which is a huge factor. And so what we try and focus on is helping out those local businesses that might have been around for a few years. They might not quite know how to get the word out, how to be on Google, how to, optimize their website, basically to have people find them and know that there's an alternative from just going to Amazon, because that's kind of a big battle in itself. I have a company who's a barbershop, a major barber retailer in the Midwest. And so their biggest challenge is just to say, there's other options other than Amazon.
Right, of course, they're the 800-pound gorilla in the market that is taking a lot of products away from these local businesses. So how do you counteract that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, the big thing is to let people know that, there's local stores, there's local options. You can go in, you can see all the products. Especially barbers in particular is a great niche industry where people, there's a great community of barbers. Instagram is just packed with tons of barber products and all that kind of stuff. And just the fact that barbers can go to the store, can see the products, and also the service is exceptional. So they're for example, their company is an authorized reseller of the top barbering products, and they service all of them in-house, which is fantastic. You don't get that, if you send it to Amazon or whatever. So there are, big advantages, and certain markets lend themselves very well to the local community. We're always going to need dentists, and, we're always going to need, I guess we could say barbering gyms, stuff like that. And there are other options than just the big guys. And I love working with these local business owners, seeing what they've done, how long they've done it, talking with them. There's always great passion behind what they do.
Right. And of course, Amazon really is in the product business. Many of the local businesses are in the service business. I know Amazon's trying to get their hands in the service business as well and take some of that pie. But, it's hard for them to, give any kind of service, whether it's a doctor or dentist or chiropractor or those kind of industries. But there's competition in your local market for them as well. So how do you get the clients that you work with to the top of Google when people are looking for them?
Yeah, so I mean, with Google, you know, we try and focus on SEO. We try and focus generally on primarily Google. We also do some with Bing and some others, but Google is, you know, the majority of the market share. It's said 80%. It varies based on what statistic you look at, but they definitely have significant market share. So SEO is a big important step, but it's also kind of difficult sometimes because business owners, it depends. Some of them want to be top of the listing, and in that case, I say look at Google Ads. You know, maybe run something quick where you can get something on top. For example, I have a jewelry client. It's kind of the end of the when it's the end of the year. You know, Christmas, holidays, stuff like that happen, and they have a really high budget for advertising their product on Google. And that's something you can't really SEO very quickly to do something like that. So in their case, Google Ads is perfect. And that's something that we can help with. And it's something that can be daunting for local businesses to, like, how do I even go online? Like, you know, get ads on Google. They've heard maybe of AdWords Express, but it's confusing. So that's kind of really where we're able to help them.
Right. And, you know, you mentioned as well that the businesses that you like to deal with are the ones that have been in business for a while. They're passionate about what they do. And they've probably used a lot of word of mouth referral marketing to get to the stage that they're at. But they need to keep up with the times and get the business from Google as well. So, you know, how do you help them start that process?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a great question and great insight. You know, basically starting, we'll have a meeting, we'll try and figure out what their goals are, what their problems are, their pain points. And I always recommend, if you're a business owner, you know, invest in your website. Make sure you have a good website that tells about your product, tells your story, is easy to find, easy to use, and dominate your market, your own name. And it takes a lot of, I think, work that maybe some business owners don't think about, of just getting like news articles and passing out their name. It's almost the same idea as word of mouth with their business is almost word of mouth with Google and with their website. You know, you have to promote it basically. And
well,
that's
explain Ted the importance of that, because you've really touched on something that a lot of business owners might not quite understand. They might have had a website developed 5, 10, 15 years ago and said, okay, I've got a website, check. You know, it's not bringing me any business, so I'm not going to put any time into it.
Yeah, so one of the reasons I started Kow Abundant is because I saw all these business owners in my last business, which was primarily a web design company. And actually there were 2 businesses I was working with, some with partners and such, that were building websites basically. And they've ranged from all kinds of fancy websites to simple websites for businesses. And, you know, we'd build this website, it would cost several thousand or whatever it was. And then at the end of the day, they'd have this website and be like, okay, where are all my customers? You know, like what I got this website, but really just having a website is half of it, maybe less, because you really have to promote it. You really have to make sure people are seeing it. And that's kind of where it sparked something in me, is I was disappointed by building these great websites that were expensive, but then it's like, you know, you toss the football and say run. And it's like, what team am I on? I don't know where I'm going. You know, how big's the field? It's like all this stuff that business owners might not know. And with SEO and Kow Abundant, we kind of take all those elements and really try and help shape your narrative and like what are your goals? Because there's a lot to just having a website doesn't mean you're instantly, you know, popular or successful.
Right. If you build it, they will come doesn't really apply for the websites. You actually have to market that website in order for it to be any use. whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of happened a long time ago where people would have websites maybe 10 or more years ago, 15, and it would be enough. But now everyone has a website, and it's like, you have to level the playing field kind of by being competitive, by investing in this. And the ones that do it, it pays off. They see customers and they're more engaged with their business because it's kind of, a website is really a reflection of your business. And then beyond that, there's Google Maps and optimizing for that. So it really does kind of put the mirror on your business when you do this stuff. And I feel really proud to say that it helps a lot of business owners maybe think differently about their business.
Really, and I mentioned word of mouth earlier, but even with the word of mouth and referrals today, people are still going to the internet to, cement what they heard about you. They are going to look up your name and your business name. Do you find that too?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 82% of customers go online first before they visit a local store. So that's huge. And again, I go back to, Amazon and some of these big retailers, even like Target and some of the others, they're dominating the local space, which makes no sense to me. And Google does have a deficit, I would say, in the local market where when it comes to like Google Shopping and stuff like that, where they'll promote local businesses or local products at like Walmart and Target, which makes no sense when you and I both know there's so many local businesses that have that product that you might be looking for, but it's just not there. So I think that's kind of indicative of the business owners, just needing help to get online and get in the right place in front of people.
So talking about being front and center, especially if you're looking from a geographic location, that map pack is one of the first things that you see. How important is that to get your clients up there?
Yeah, that's very important. That's definitely one of the things I focus on a lot of my time. A decent amount in the sense that I'm able to plug into the Yext API with the products I use, where I can, at a value bundle, get my services and all of my customers' maps data correct, accurate, all over the place. Because that is a huge problem for a lot of businesses. They'll have inaccurate data, old data, maybe old phone numbers, here and there, and that just confuses potential customers. So making sure that the maps are accurate, the Google listing, and so many times the biggest thing I see is in that Google My Business, if you're a business owner, check that, go to it, see your profile, see what's on there, because so many businesses in the About section, they just have, we're a company that sells, cameras, and that's it, or maybe less. Like it'll be like a few words. And that area is something you can really kind of tell a little bit about your products, where you are, what you do, and something like that can actually help optimize your search listing. So things like that are really important to go in. I think that it's, kind of an afterthought. Businesses will say, I'm there on Google, I'm in the maps, my address is okay, and that's it. But there's a whole other section there.
Right. It's been evolving over the years to where you can now, put events up there, you can do blog posts and, all sorts of different things. So obviously Google is putting an emphasis on that. So the local businesses should be really working with that too. Yes,
absolutely. I mean, local posts, are pretty important. Google has made an initiative to promote local posts. When you go into your Google My Business listing, you can actually download the app from the App Store, Google My Business, get it on your phone, log in with Google, sync your location, and from your phone, you can post, maybe take a picture of a pastry you baked or, something you did today, and just say, here's the latest sale, 50% off, buy one, get one free, blah, blah, blah. And that really helps when people are searching. They might see your post, which really attracts customers too.
And of course, it's all about that traffic. The more traffic that you have, the more Google is going to put you up there. So
Yeah.
just little things like that, taking pictures and displaying them can be really helpful. Now, you do some work with social media as well. What do you do from the social media standpoint?
Yeah, so the social media side is kind of the same idea where, we have three core services, and that's SEO, Google Ads, and social media management. And the social media management side is, obviously very important because more and more businesses are online on social, but maybe they don't have a good Instagram. Maybe, they might love Facebook, which happens a lot, but there might be nothing on LinkedIn or Twitter or, some of these other places. And so with the social media management side, we basically help create content. It's affordable for businesses that just, some businesses don't post for a long time, which is really bad. If you're a business, I highly recommend, and you haven't posted in like 2 months, just post something. Like, very important. Because that looks bad when people go to your Facebook or whatever and you haven't posted for a year, so that is a very important tip. And that's kind of where we do is we make sure that there's content always going toward the funnel, which is, people that are looking for your business and, talking about sales, talking about what you can offer, and always having content when sometimes it might be pretty dry for a lot of local businesses because they're busy doing other things,
That's right. They're working so much on their business that oftentimes they don't take the time just to stop and think about the marketing part. And it is very helpful to have another company come in and take care of that for them. So, describe the outcome that you have for your clients. What do they achieve by working with you?
Yeah, so generally what I can say is that, when we run Google Ads, you can see 3 to 4x improvement versus doing it yourself. And we're really proud of that because we've gone in and, businesses have used AdWords Express, and for the same budget, they can get, 3 times the results, which is fantastic. I have a local client who is a bed bug exterminator, and he was doing AdWords for a long time, putting a lot of money into it, and just kind of set it and forget it almost kind of thing. And we were able to go in and drive his traffic, very high, and also improve it by a factor of over 4x, in terms of click-through rates and lowering the cost too. So even though you might even be spending the same money, you're getting so much more than if you do it yourself, not to mention the time you might be wasting. If they're going in, checking this all the time, I think it's very reassuring for businesses, whether it be an SEO person, an accountant, somebody else that you can talk to and just ask questions. And that's something I also pride myself in, is being able to answer questions, if people call and this sort of thing. I always feel it's important to have somebody on the phone. You can't even get a hold of Facebook. You can't call them. You can't, and so we have Google partners that we work with and stuff like that we can talk on the phone and not waste business owners' time because, on average, businesses spend 23% of their day just inputting data, which is a huge number. And so if we can reduce any part of that, then hopefully we can help the local community get more money back into it. And that really helps, the community overall. So.
Right. And another thing is with Google and with Facebook, with all the different algorithms changing all the time. I mean, you have to be studying nonstop just to keep up with the best practices in order to stay on top.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely, I think there are some business owners that might contact me and I'll go through kind of what I do. And the best customer is really an educated customer that maybe they've done AdWords and they don't know everything, but they know a little bit and about SEO maybe. And then they can come to me and say, I've done this. I know the basic terminology. maybe like click-through rates or cost per click. Maybe that's even kind of high up, I think, because business owners should be focused on their business, and that's really important.
Right. So what do you feel are some of the biggest myths or misconceptions about SEO and digital marketing?
Yeah, that is a great question because there's a whole bunch. I would say basically with SEO, people still don't know what SEO is. So search engine optimization. So I do a lot of, but what does that mean? That's a big word. And so I do a lot of teaching just kind of local businesses about, maybe they understand Google ranking. I want to be ranked in Google, but then for the most part, I try and give them sort of the Cliff Notes version of what I do, which is a lot of back-end work, analyzing code as well. I have a lot of programs I use that analyze their website and compare with competitors to see what competitors are doing, because that's a big piece that not many people get, particularly if you're not a professional. You're missing, like, I'm a bread company, but what is Bob's Bread doing, or a bigger company? What is Kroger, doing to get placed and stuff like that? And so that's a portion of what I do. Education is definitely important, and also the second thing is that I can just kind of wave a magic wand and you're top of the rankings. That is definitely a misconception. I think that, when people do SEO, I always tell them, this is really an investment. You want to be involved in this ongoing, because it'll take 6 months. It could take a year. It depends on your business. I have some businesses that rank fairly high very quickly, and then others, like I have a business that does apartments, local apartments, and that industry is so competitive and so difficult for new businesses to come in on. But we're doing very aggressive things, and we're definitely improving the rankings on that, but something like that does take a lot of time.
Right, and like you say, it comes back to education again, and the realization was, well, are you planning on being in business in 6 months? Or, are you planning for 10 years? Because if so, this is the process. If you're planning for, the next 3 months, then SEO probably isn't going to be your best bet.
Yeah, exactly. And I try and talk with people. I even have an article on our website that's basically saying, should you do SEO or Google ads? Because, and in a perfect world, I recommend both, because they both work very well together. If you have SEO going, if you have Google ads, basically you can figure out what people are searching for and then plug that in very nicely into your SEO and say, these keywords also might be really expensive, so I'd like to instead place for them organically on my website. But it's definitely an ongoing process.
So what are some of the common fears that people have about engaging a digital marketing company like yourselves?
I think a big one is price, and trust. Trust is very important. Once I talk with people and they figure out, why I'm doing this, which really I genuinely want to help local businesses, and I want them to succeed, because I've been there. I've had many local businesses myself, and I know how hard it is, and I know that any advantage you can get is essential. So that's kind of a big portion, is just like the trust factor. And then also with the pricing, I try and make it so my pricing is affordable, very affordable compared to others. And we're able to do that because we do focus on fairly localized customers. We don't just open it up per se to everyone. Whereas some might, and that's fine, but again, we really want to focus on the local market. So that's where we're at.
So that's great that it's affordable to everybody, and people should really look into at least doing something and having an expert do it. But what are some of the common pitfalls or mistakes that you see business owners make trying to do this themselves?
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. So I think a lot of times, people, there's kind of a structure or, this approach where business owners will start their business, and then after they've had, some success or kept it going after maybe a few years, then they kind of get the idea that maybe they've tried direct mail, maybe they've tried reaching out for emails or whatever, and then, print advertising, stuff like that. And then they've gone maybe into AdWords. So that's kind of the beginning phase, I'd say, is that they've tried like some AdWords. Maybe they had success, maybe not. Usually not, maybe some basic success. But they know that there's more out there. They know that there's, so many people use Google. I mean, everyone uses Google, right? Like we all have our smartphones, and we're all looking for whatever it is we want, whether it be coffee beans, to a sweater. We all are looking for these things that will make our lives better. And so with business owners, it's very important that they kind of, after they do the AdWords, they want something more. And they find that it can be affordable. It can be pretty easy to do, to set up. That's where we come in. And we don't just want to inundate people with kind of BS ads. We also want them to make sense to people, to be local, because some people just might want to buy it from Amazon, and that's fine. And then others might like the local shop and maybe custom work, custom designs, kind of a more service-oriented approach, as you said earlier. And that's kind of really where businesses can shine.
Well, tell me, Ted, about one of your customers that might spring to mind. How have you helped overcome some of these problems that we've been talking about? What kind of condition did they come to you in? What were you able to do for them? And ultimately, what was the outcome for them and their business?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of different businesses that I've helped. One was a very simple approach where it was just a local photographer, for example, and he was looking to do some commercial work and trying to expand his portfolio. He had an office downtown, and we were able to get him to the top of the listing for commercial photographer, and he's been booking work in Canada, booking work in New York, and a lot of really exciting things happening. So we're very proud of just little victories, because it is like it's kind of day in, day out, as with a local business, that these little victories over time you can really kind of see and help. And that was one example. I mean, there's so many. I mentioned the bug exterminator, improving his click-through rates. He's had a very busy summer and winter. That's been fantastic for him. And now he's going into another segment of his business, which is great. I mean, I really value all of our customers, and I'm happy to say that there's a lot of stories where, we got them in front of so many people. We're working with a 55 plus community, and, it was really important that they had basically a full event, kind of launch party. And we were able to do that through advertising and getting the word out. And they said, we had a great turnout. We were super happy. And just little things like that is just, what kind of makes me smile.
Yeah. Well, the great thing about the job that you're doing, marketing really is what gets people's attention. And once you have people's attention, there's a lot of people out there that do great work, whether it's a product or a service that they're offering, but nothing's going to happen unless they know about it. So you do make a huge difference in the lives of many people. But what inspired you, Ted, to get into this profession? And tell us about Kow Abundant.
Yeah, so Kow Abundant was named for basically my grandfather had a dairy farm in Columbus years and years ago in the 40s and before. And so I'm kind of paying homage to my family by saying cow. Ohio also has tons of cows, so that's part of it. And then the third reason is about 10 years ago or so, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. And that really changed my life because, at the time there were doctors were saying I would need surgery to remove some of my colon, and I would need a colostomy bag, and I just wasn't ready for that. So I kind of took a health journey. And over the next 10 years, I evaluated, myself and what I wanted to do. And I really figured out I wanted to help local businesses, and how could I help people? And that's owning my own business and taking charge of kind of my own life. And so in turn, helping others. And the other part of that name, abundance, is because I celebrate abundance for both myself and my clients.
Excellent. Well, it's a great story. Tell us, if somebody is looking for a digital marketing company, or just have somebody to deal with, one aspect, SEO or SEM, what are some of the questions they should be asking to make sure they're working with the right kind of company?
Yeah, that is fantastic observation. So I would say, if you're a local business and maybe you found somebody that is local, first off, if you have a recommendation from, a friend or another business owner, that's always great, because that puts them up on a trust level that is much higher. Assuming that the website looks good, that maybe they have good Google reviews, that's important. That's another thing we value too, is Google reviews for us and our clients. Everybody, go get Google reviews right now. There are ways to get reviews. White Spark is a great tool. Go out there and get reviews. Okay, so anyways, I would say check the reviews. All the things that you do generally for when you're looking for a new product, or the same thing applies. Ask them questions like, how can you improve my website? How long does it take? What are the costs? And then, just kind of feel it out, as a trust factor. And do you have the budget? Do you have the time to invest? Because everyone's a little different, every approach is a little different. How much work will they be doing versus do I have to do? Am I going to have to like input code or whatever it is, ask them those kind of questions. If it's ads, are they getting paid on the back end for the ads? One thing we do not do is get paid from Google. We just have a management cost, and then all of our customers pay Google directly. So that cost is just Google. There's no back end, agreement or anything. It's not like a brokerage or anything like that. But some SEO companies, SEM, do that. So, that's an important thing to know. Also contracts. We don't do contracts. I don't like them. You can cancel at any time. And we've had success in the fact that our customers stay with us. They don't want to cancel because they like the service, and we don't need a 1 year or 2 year contract. So that's important too, to ask. Maybe they say you need to, have a 1 year agreement. That's kind of a turn off for me, but many firms do that too.
Well, this has been great. Ted, if somebody wants to reach out to you directly, how can they find out more about you and Kow Abundant?
Absolutely. So, basically just go to my website, kowabundant.com. I love Twitter. I'm on that a lot. Instagram. Instagram is kind of like a motivational thing. If you're interested in that stuff, I have a lot of kind of motivational posts. But everything's at Kow Abundant, KOW Abundant.
Excellent. Well, Ted Bigham, it's been enjoyable talking to you. Definitely learned a lot here, and thanks for being my guest on the Trust Factor Radio today.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Neil, for having me. I really appreciate it.
And to our listening audience, if you like what you hear, hit that like button and share, and we'll see you next time on the show.
You've been listening to the Trust Factor Radio with Neil Howe. To learn about the resources mentioned in the show and to listen to past episodes, go to thetrustfactorradio.com. To get a copy of the book, The Trust Factor, go to thetrustfactorbook.com. If you are ready to act now and build your authority, credibility, and trust, schedule a consultation with Neil at theauthorityarchitect.com.